I'm sitting here trying to think of an overall theme, a title to this video. Hey girls. There'll be one on there by the time you watch it. But I am in pain. And I wanted to talk to you. And the reason is I want to be able to help you guys when you're in pain. Emotional pain, that is. Physical pain, yeah, there's remedies to that. But we don't always learn how to deal with emotional pain. The worst kind, right? I will gladly let some big guy beat the heck out of me rather than cause me emotional pain. Gladly, I'll recover from somebody, popping me in the mouth or something like that. Hopefully they don't do that. But I'll take physical pain or emotional pain any day. The emotional pain is brutal, and I think it's because I was never told by my parents, grandparents really. I think you guys know that I was pretty much raised by my grandparents, I think we said that. I think we talked about that a few times. But in your birthday video, Monk, I start talking about how I have a mental block with a lot of things. Excuse me. Tonight's going to be a slow one because, boy, the gears are turning. And the gears are a little bit rusty these days, girls. Or rusty. Look at all that gray hair. But yeah, I've developed this mental block and something popped into my head. And everything's all intertwined and tied together. But my little birds that I had, I've blocked those out because of what happened to those birds. It was excruciating. I had those birds for a long time, from almost when this whole process here started and we got separated. These two little birds living in that house I was living in, and no one was really taking care of them, so I took care of them, and then they eventually became mine, and they moved in with me, and I bought them a big enclosure, tried to pamper them as much as I could, and of course, two girl birds, I think anyway, I don't know. I respected their privacy, so I never checked. But I think they were girls. That's what I was told anyway. But Amy and Grace. The little blue one was Amy, and the gray one was Grace. Grace. But they both died right there when reintegration was falling apart. And I've had the stress and the emotional pain of trying to hold it together with reintegration. And I was losing it with that. I was losing the battle. I was losing the battle, and I didn't know what to do with regard to reintegration. And my two little birds That's them. That one was Amy. That was Grace. I really liked them. But I blocked them out because of what happened. I'll tell you what happened. I don't think I told you the full story about what happened to him. But this is what I wanted to talk to you about. When you feel emotional pain, bottling it up or isolating or trying to power through it, it might have its place for a little while. You know, you might not be able to have your breakdowns at any point. You know, so let's say you're at work. You gotta power through it. Sometimes you can't, and if you ever run into that situation, or you just kind of lose it, that's fine. But what I've found. This is just what I've found. That's what I always try and just give you is what I've found. Talking about it and getting it out. Because the bottling up of any emotion, any of them, is not good. That's why I needed these little guys. I needed these little guys, girls, because I had a lot of love to give. And I had nobody to give it to. That can mess you up too. It's almost as bad, maybe just as bad as having fear or sadness or anxiety or any of those things. You bottle all that up, whether it be love or any of those emotions, and your body just, and your heart and your soul and all that can't take it. Gotta get it out. It's like a sneeze. Gotta get it out. So I got these little guys and bought them their cage. I don't have a picture of. It wasn't a cage. It was an enclosure. Hey Muffin, there's you at reintegration. When we ate pancakes. Boy, I almost don't want to talk about it because it's going to hurt, but you got to get it out, right? You got to get it out. So I would feed them each night and take care of them. And one night I went to go feed them and I pulled a bonehead move. It's purely my fault. That's what hurts. I screwed up. There was a ceiling fan in the other house. And I knew, because I'd studied about taking care of birds. I looked up things, and one of the things is if you're going to let them fly around the house or they have the potential to get out of their enclosure, you can't have any ceiling fans on because they spin. And I go to put food in their enclosure and I have the door open and Grace got out. She flew right out of the cage and right into where the ceiling fan was spinning. This one's gonna hurt. That poor little bird flew right into this fan and then just got knocked right into this wall. And then she fell to the floor and behind a couch. And I I sat there stunned. It was like it happened in slow motion because I saw it all happening in front of me. And I went behind the couch and picked her up. I didn't know what to do because I didn't want to hurt her more. I didn't want to hurt her more by picking her up. But I knew I had to. I had no choice but to pick her up and do something. She wasn't moving. Oh boy. I'm telling you this story to get to a more important point. I picked her up and she was, for the moment, lifeless. And I held her in my hand, not knowing what, and she was messed up. She was really messed up. And she suddenly twitched and she started trying to move, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. She just was clearly in pain. And it's like 10 o'clock at night, I don't know what to do either. And so I held her, and I'll be honest with you, this is why I'm struggling. I knew she was in agony and that I was not going to be able to get her any help. There's no animal hospitals open at 10 p.m. and they weren't going to open until 8 or 9 in the morning. And even then, there probably wasn't anything they could do for her. So for a split second, I thought about putting her out of her misery, and I couldn't bring myself to do that. I laid with that bird all night long. All night. I didn't sleep. I did not sleep. All night long I laid with that bird. And I remember one of the more painful things was seeing the other bird, little Amy, in the cage. Like, what's going on? What's going on? And me not being able to convey to her, like, any information. I couldn't convey to her anything. And I couldn't fix the pain that the other one was in. Why am I hesitant to use their names? That Grace was in. I was powerless. I was helpless and absolutely powerless. I found, while laying with her on the phone, I had lots of time. Felt like an eternity. One of the longest nights of my life. I sat there and I looked for, like, veterinarians that will come to your house, maybe. And I found one. And I found, probably around 1 in the morning, I found an on-call veterinarian. And texted her, ended up on the phone with her, and it was so late. She was so nice. She said she'd come in the morning, and she did. And she got there, and there was nothing that could be done. There was nothing. There was nothing that could be done. And the thoughts that raced through my mind that night were horrific. I'd already been dealing with the pain of only seeing you guys for a couple hours, which was excruciating. Excruciating. Just seeing you in an office. And then we got the Grey Wolf Lodge, and we got the escape room, and we got those things. But the thoughts were terrible because there was somebody who I was fearful of, very, very fearful of, who would come to Miss Autumn's office. And I had done this thing where, I was not looking for, but I was thinking like the universe was sending me signs or something like that. I was reading way too much into it. I was distraught. I was absolutely distraught. I didn't know what was happening. I was a mess. And so the next day, the on-call vet showed up and ended up putting little Grace to sleep. I buried her in the backyard. But little Amy was still there, wondering where her friend was. And I didn't know what to do. I was at a loss. I didn't know what to do. And for better or worse, somehow I made the decision because the little bird, Amy, was miserable, like squawking and screaming all the time. And I had nowhere to go. I had nowhere to be. At the time, I wasn't working. And I'm just hearing this poor little bird lonely, wondering where its friend was. And I'm worried about you guys and wondering what's going on. And I'm worried about this person who has showed up at the place where I see you. And I don't know why. I can't tell you my rationale. I don't know why, but I decided, well, I'm just going to let Amy fly away. I can't leave her like this. She's miserable. I can't get another bird. They don't know each other. And after what I just have been through with watching Grace and the fan, I don't want another bird. To say I was devastated, it was an understatement. All the while alone. That was the most painful part. And so I let little Amy go. In my stupid brain, I was sitting there trying to figure out how to pay for reintegration, not knowing what to do. What I should have done was reach out for help. I should have asked friends who later told me that they would have lent me the money. But I didn't do that. Not because of pride, not because of anything like that. Because of sorrow. Because I knew, and this is what I'm getting at, I knew that I had created that situation. The reintegration situation. Whether I had become violent or not, whether I had committed child abuse or not, or was mentally ill, or whatever all the claims were, I did allow that situation to occur. And so I thought, okay, well, this is the universe sending me a sign that I need to let the girls go. They'll come back to me. They'll come back to me. This is temporary, I told myself. They'll come back and we can start this process over again once I land on my feet. I didn't realize the implications. I really didn't. Something that you may never know was that I didn't realize what I was doing at the time, and it wasn't until after I left that room in reintegration where I said bye to you and we hugged, and I thought I was protecting you. I really did. I thought, all right, they're in pain. I rationalized it in my brain. I did every defense mechanism you can possibly think of because of the pain I was in. But regardless of the outcome, it's emotional pain. And what I wanted to get to was the point about me knowing that I had created the situation. That's how I survived. And it's not to say to blame yourself for anything and everything that happens to you, especially you guys right now. When you watch this eventually someday, I don't want you looking back as you as a kid thinking you did something. You don't make decisions. It's kids and animals are innocent in that regard. Other people are making decisions for you usually. But when you get older and you find yourself in a situation, and I'm not telling you to do this, I'm saying that this works. This gets me through. One, when you find yourself in a situation like that, make sure that before any situation like that occurs, that you've established a really good support structure. The reason that there's two of you was, well, both me and Mom agreed, but I was always adamant that there were going to be two of you right next to each other in age. So you had that support structure. You guys can always go to each other, and I hope you maintain that. I don't see why you wouldn't. But I do see siblings that sometimes start bickering and let silly things get in between them. But when you have that support structure of whoever it is, Amy, you have Grace, you have Amy, and you can have Mom, hopefully someday me, friends, good friends. This is why it's so important to get that good circle of friends that are there for the right reasons. Talk to them. Let it out. There is a very funny bit that I'm not going to play, but Bill Burr, you guys watched him with me and Mom. It was one of me and Mom's favorite comedians. Had a wonderful bit about the way women handle things versus men, and women will talk things out and men won't. It does. It's true. It's men are more resistant to talking. I happen to be a little bit different in that respect. I don't fall into that generalization. I've always wanted to talk things out. It's when I haven't been able to talk things out that things go sideways. And when you do, because I imagine you will, because you're being girls, if you fall into the generalization, you'll have a desire to talk things out. You're going to want something to change because you're in pain. You want something to change. And whatever it might be that's causing you the pain, whether it be a breakup or difficulty in school, work, whatever it might be, you're going to want a change. We want to see the change around us. But the only thing we have control of is us, ourselves. We can't control other people. A lot of people will try that technique, that tactic of controlling other people to get the change that they want. And because of that, one of the most common things that people do is project their faults onto other people. It's remarkably common. They say that an alcoholic will always think everybody else is drunk. A thief will always think everybody else is stealing. Someone who lies will always think everybody else is lying. They project those faults onto other people so they can get them to change. But if the only thing we can change is ourselves, what works for me is seeing what I did to cause that situation. Now with the birds, I screwed up. And I'll be honest with you, it doesn't help that much. It doesn't. But that's me because I have a bond with animals and with kids. You should see it. Kids cling to me. I haven't shown you this because I didn't know if it was... I didn't want it to be something that might be weird. But this right here, this is something that keeps occurring to me. This is something that keeps happening to me all the time. I'll be on the road, and so I have a picture of this for a reason, and I'll explain it in a second. That's why I thought it was kind of weird. But 5 times now, since I've returned to work a year ago, 5 times in hotels, 2 little girls, not the same ones, but it's always 2 little girls, and this situation was a little different because the little redhead on the left showed up a little bit later. But either way, the 2 girls that are on my immediate right and immediate left came into the gym. I'm working out in the gym. And they came into the gym and they started working out next to me. And I'm like, hey, what's up? And it's happened 5 times. And it's always 2 little girls. This is why I not freak out, but this is why I'm like, is the universe sending me signs here? What the hell is this? Maybe it's just a coincidence. I don't know. I don't really read that much into it anymore. But they came to me and became my best friends, and we got to talking about how to work out. They asked me, they said, "Hey, how do you do this? How do you do that?" And I started helping them. And then the little one in the blue sweatshirt, little blonde one in the blue sweatshirt, said, "Ooh, you know what we could do? We could make like one of those YouTube exercise videos." And so she had a phone and she put it up and she starts doing this thing. And so we all got together and we started doing this little exercise thing. And then she ended up sending me the picture. I know, weird, right? Yeah, it's very weird. But I wanted the picture. I'm like, I gotta remember this. These little kiddos keep coming up to me and wanting to be my buddy. And then animals. Ask Mom about animals. I think she'll tell you. For some reason, animals cling to me. But they're innocent. Kids and animals. And so I don't like to see either of those in pain. With adults, I have sympathy, but not as much sympathy because they cause their own pain. They do. I've caused my own pain. That's the reality of it. I've done it. So, having realized that, that's how the change happened for me. It still hurts, but it's better. It's better than it was, or better than it would have been had I started pointing fingers. And it might seem to some people like I point fingers, and if that's the case, then I'm sorry. That's not my intent. My intent, when it seems as though I point fingers, is to get other people to have the same epiphany that I had. That, hey, please stop throwing the stones at me, and it's not going to make you feel better to throw the stones at me. I know, it doesn't work. Don't throw stones at yourself, but you might want to look in the mirror, because it's going to be a lot better for you and a lot easier if you make the change in yourself. I can tell you this. I will never, ever have a fan on if there's a bird in the room. For better or worse, it's a change that occurred. And I can tell you this. I will never, ever act as stupid as I did to create this situation. I will never act that stupid ever again. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm far from it. I'm still figuring things out, and I will until the day I die. But when we deal with that emotional pain, we got to figure out what we can change. You know, if you're in pain because of the way you're sitting, it's like, well, I gotta fix my posture. You make a change in yourself, and that's the way you alleviate pain. Same analogy, you tell somebody else, hey, you sit up, stop slouching. Well, that didn't really help, now did it? But at the same time, carrying on with that same analogy, if I found that slouching causes me back pain, I might say to somebody, hey, you know, you're slouching. You might want to consider sitting up. Maybe. Stop shaming me. How dare you? Jeez, Dad, you're being mean. I know, but I'm making a point here. I don't want anybody to be in pain. Having experienced that pain, I don't want anybody to be in pain. Especially you guys, especially Mom. I wish I had a magic wand to alleviate that pain. I don't. But I hope I can pass it on to you guys so someday you can better deal with your own pain. It's going to happen. It's part of life. It's just the way it goes. And so long as I'm still around, I really hope you can reach out to me and, hey, Dad, I'm having a rough time. I will drop whatever I'm doing. Hey, what's going on? What's happening? What do you need to talk about? Talk it out. Say what you've done. And be honest with yourself. One of the most important things, I know I say that every time we talk, right? Every time we talk. One of the most important things, they're all important. And they're all not important. No, I'm kidding. It's understanding that screwing up is okay. Screwing up is 100% part of life. It has to happen for us to grow as people. It has to. You have to screw up. The hard part, and the part that's actually not okay, is pretending that we didn't screw up. Trying to create a facade so that we can seem like we know what we're doing. Because what really doesn't matter, what's really unimportant, and this is a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason, what's really just completely and totally pointless is the opinion of others. When we start living our lives in a way where we're trying to create that facade of perfection for others, immediately things start going south. I speak from experience. I really do. It was when I finally came to the realization, that epiphany again. It's okay to screw up. Sure, there's going to be people who kick you while you're down. If you say, hey, I screwed up, there's always going to be the jerk. He goes, yeah, see, I told you so. Pay no attention. Because that's his opinion, and it doesn't matter. But the overwhelming majority of people will look at you and go, you just admitted you screwed up? The way, and I know it always goes back to flying, right, Dad? Yeah, it does. Just bear with me. The way that I gain the trust of my coworkers is when I do screw up, and I screw up. You know, nothing dangerous, but just screw up, and procedurally or mathematically, that's a common one. Ah, shoot, I screwed up. Sorry about that. I apologize. I messed that up. I didn't put that in that computer properly. My fault. Because there's a lot of people who won't do that. How? What's wrong with this stupid computer? I didn't tell it to do that. I am better than that. And then the other person looks at you like, I watched you do it. You screwed that up. Now you screwed it up and you're a liar. But yeah. You wave the white flag. Hey, I screwed up. So when you talk to yourself about what it is that you did I should probably change that to me. When I screw up and I realize what I did, what I caused, or what I did to cause the emotional pain I'm in, I can point to something that I do or will do. I'm not going to do that again, or hey, I'm going to change that up, and things get better. Not ideal. That's not what this life is. It's not going to be ideal. It can be pretty darn good. But it's, for some reason, and I don't know why, never ideal. And even if it is, we're always looking for something better. That's why Apple comes out with a new phone each year. This one's even better. What was wrong with the last one? Well, that one didn't have a headset jack. Oh, okay. I don't know, I'm trying to put a little bit of humor into this. I can't just be a Debbie Downer. A Chad complainer. Why did I pick Chad? I don't know. Oh. The pain right now, girls, for me, is that I allowed people, I did it. My behavior made it so that people are in our lives right now who are actual control freaks, actually want to manipulate people, actually want to lie to people, and they're the ones making the most accusations. Like I said, every alcoholic thinks everybody's a drunk. You want to surprise the hell out of an alcoholic? Go to a bar with them and order a Diet Coke. Try that one. Huh? You're having a Diet Coke? What? No. You must want a drink, right? You want a drink. Hey, let me get you triple tequila. No, I'm good. What? It blows their mind. They can't comprehend it. Someone who steals things. They will accuse you of stealing. And when someone really wants control of you, the very first thing they'll do is accuse you of trying to control others. Watch out for that one. Maybe that's just my experience. Maybe that's just what my life has given me. Maybe you'll experience something different. That's possible. But my experience has been exactly that. And then start that loop over. Okay, this person's making accusations against me. Well, that hurts. What did I do to create this situation? I let this person into my life. I let this person into my life. Me. I guess I have to make a change. And you can. Getting distracted because all the folders of pictures, lots and lots of pictures. I'm building that model ship up there, and it's the same ship that me and Mom went on, the aircraft carrier. And it was that day that I made a life-changing decision, because we went out on that aircraft carrier, and it was really cool, one of the coolest, most awesome days of my life, being able to take Mom on that aircraft carrier, which already had sentimental meaning to me. And neither one of us thought to bring a camera. There's no pictures from that. So I build that ship and I look at little parts of it. We stood right there. We hung out there and we did that, and that was so cool. No pictures. And so about a week later, I went out and bought my first digital camera. Couldn't believe it. Didn't bring a camera. I mean, they had back then. They might even make them now again. I don't know. But they had these little disposable cameras. You just went and bought a camera and take a picture. Take another picture. That was winding the film. That's the noise I'm making. Gee, Dad, you're old. I know. You don't have to rub it in. Oh. You know, that's what I do. I don't know if you noticed, Grace, when, or girls, when I was watching the videos during your birthday video. I anticipate what you're going to say. Drove you nuts, because I was almost always right. So you make the change, girls. Be the change. It's such a cliche. Be the change you hope to see. Be that change. All right. Two things I wanted to convey to you tonight. Be that change. When you're in that pain, be that change you hope to see. And it'll make it better. But I also wanted you to know that what I said to you that day when we said goodbye, the thing about the birds, watching what happened to the little one named Grace, and then holding out Amy. I'm trying not to cry. I'm trying to hold it together. I held Amy out of the door. I went out the sliding glass door and I just held her out, waiting for her to fly away. And she just stared at me. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? And I finally gave her a nudge. Like, get out of here. You know, girls, I can never apologize to you enough for my stupidity. I'm human, and I'm a stupid one at that. I really am. I've made some horrible, horrible decisions in my time, and they cause me emotional pain. But with God as my witness, I promise you that I will be the change that you hope to see in me. I hope that I can learn from my lessons enough to make amends to you for having caused this situation. I hope I can be a smarter person, because you drive me, you encourage me, you motivate me to be a better man and a better father. You really do. You guys are everything I could have ever hoped for. Everything I ever wanted. And I hope I can do right by you guys. I love you so gosh darn much. Until the next time you click, Love one another as much as I love you.